I said it was supposed to be more. Look familiar? Scenes like this are happening all over the state. You could be next. Unless you watch our video. It's winter in Michigan. The winter water wonderland. It's currently a frozen wasteland. For 4 to 6 months out of the year, this state is a hostile environment. If you want to keep alive, if you want to keep safe, if you want to keep warm when the mercury drops to I don't want to be here levels, you're going to need a system. Not a brand, not a single piece of equipment, a system. If you don't get that right, if you're not properly prepared, your environment will reclaim you. The environment doesn't care how much you spent on your kit, doesn't care how much you've spent on your rifle, doesn't care how Gucci you are. If you're not properly prepared, this state will make you its bitch. I'm going to teach you how to keep warm and everything from the most mild to the cold, harsh environments of the Keweenaw Peninsula. So, before we get started, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The law cotton kills. The rule known worldwide by backpackers, hikers, and survivalists alike. So cotton acts as a sponge for your sweat and a fief of your body heat. If you are out in the winter and you're wearing cotton and you get wet, then that's it. It's game over. It loses all of its insulation value. If I catch you wearing your favorite Carhartt sweater with your plate carrier in the middle of the winter, I am personally going to come to your house and take your optics. Now, then how do we keep warm during the winter? So we have a layering system. So the gold standard is to use the ECWCS layering system created by the US military. The entire idea of that system is to be able to don and doff layers as you are increasing and decreasing your activity level to help manage sweat. Because we just went over, you get wet, you get cold, you die. So the idea is you want to remove layers before you start sweating, and you want to add layers before you get too fucking cold. So the Michigan wilderness has 4 ways of stealing your heat: conduction, convection, radiation, and evaporation. Conduction is you're sitting on a frozen log, and that log is just stealing your body heat away from you. Convection is like the wind blowing against your skin and then robbing your body heat. Radiation is just losing your body heat to the environment, which is kind of what the layering system is designed to prevent. It's meant to insulate you. It's meant to prevent you losing heat to the radiation. But evaporation is obviously you getting too wet. You're rucking. You're not properly donning and doffing layers. You're getting sweaty, and then it's acting like a refrigerator against your skin. So I'm going to go over all the different layers that I use to keep warm in the winter. So why is any of this important? Well, maybe the year is 2027. Maybe you've been conscripted and sent to Greenland to fight the Danes. And you're in a foxhole somewhere freezing your ass off. Knowing how to properly layer, how to properly keep yourself warm and insulate yourself is going to help keep you alive. Or maybe the situation is a little bit different. Maybe there are hostile forces running amok in your neighborhood, kidnapping neighbors, blackbagging protesters off the street, killing people simply for exercising their Second Amendment and their First Amendment rights. Maybe, just maybe, shit has hit the fan. So let's talk about the individual layers, what they do and why they're important. And I'm also going to attach to this video a chart that basically shows what layers of the ECWCS system that you're going to use for what activity levels and what environments. But to start off with, we're going to talk about the first layer, the most important layer, is your base layer. So you want this to either be a polyester or wool material. You want it to be thin. You want it to be tight against your skin. It essentially acts as a second skin to your body. What I use is I have this Reebok base layer from Walmart, 100% polyester. Reason why you want polyester, you want wool, is because neither one of them retain moisture very easily. They dry quickly. They help wicks moisture, and they help wick sweat away from your skin into your insulation layers that slowly kind of radiate them out to your body, or out from your body, and evaporate. So it's not an instant evaporation effect, so it's not turning your body into a refrigerator. You want a good top and bottom of these. Now, the second layer, or the mid layer, is going to be your insulation. So that helps trap body heat and help keep you warm. So for those, again, you also want a polyester or a wool or a fleece, or a polyester fleece. That's personally what I have. So again, doesn't need to be expensive, just needs to be the right materials to do the job. For my bottom layers, for my mid layers, I have essentially just a thicker base layer because they make them in different thicknesses. Your most common is going to be like a level 1. They also have like a level 2, a level 3, and level 4. Those are all meant for different varying activity levels. Personally, for your base layer, I just recommend having a level 1, just because that is going to be the lightest. It is going to be the most versatile because, again, all you want your base layer to do is just kind of wick the sweat away from your skin. So going with a heavier level 4 acts as a good mid layer. Now, for my insulation for my core, I just have a fleece sweater that I picked up from Walmart. So I picked this up about 2 Christmases ago, like on sale. And yeah, no, all it is a polyester fleece. It's thick enough to keep me insulated. Helps trap, air pockets, helps trap body heat. So that's what I have for my mid layers. So in a lot of situations, all you might need is a base layer and a mid layer. You might not necessarily need anything else until the temperature starts dropping significantly. So what I also have to help with insulation is a packable Puffy Layer. So essentially all this does is create more loft and trap more heat. So theoretically, you don't even need a puffy. You could have a thicker fleece or a thicker wool, or just another wool layer or polyester layer. But the packable, puffy, helps trap a lot more air, and that's really all insulation is it's just air being trapped in your body. And then finally, your wind layer, your windbreak layer, kind of trapping all that warm air in so it doesn't get blown away by the wind. So, which is where my final layer comes in, is for my bottoms. I have a pair of CQR waterproof hiking pants in multicam. And I also have my OCP waterproof parka. So this is from Proper. I believe it is just the Equix Gen 2 parka. There's 3 generations of the parka. There's the Generation 1, there's the Generation 2, then there's the Generation 3. The Generation 1 is the heaviest and the thickest. I actually have one in M81.
M81, as in the best camo.
Generation 2 is kind of more of the mid-range one. Then the Generation 3 is going to be the lightest, and the newest one of the 3. All of them basically have the same features. So you have pit zips to help with ventilation. Oh, those are actually already zipped or unzipped. So yeah, you have pit zips to help with ventilation, because these layers are waterproof or windproof, they don't breathe. Even the nicer Gore-Tex ones, if you were to go out and just Because again, you don't need military gear. You can get stuff that's made for, hikers, for backpackers. The concept is all the same. You just want the layers to do their job, right? So even if you go get the nicer Gore-Tex ones, they're meant to be breathable. Really, anyone who's ever worn Gore-Tex can tell you it's not breathable. Like once it gets any sort of wet, the breathability of the Gore-Tex basically goes away. So you'd want a material like a jacket with pit zips because that does help ventilate excess body heat that you're generating. Um, Also, like as you're heating up, you can just unzip the damn thing. Um, Waterproof bottoms are very important as well, just because, especially when you're hiking through the woods and you're hiking through the snow, any sort of like moisture that you get on the bottom of your pants is going to get into your socks, is going to get into your boots. It's not going to be a good time. Which also brings me to socks. You want good wool socks. These are where I would not really get the polyester ones. I would get good wool socks. So there's a bunch of different companies that make wool socks at varying different price ranges. Darn Tough is going to be your most well-known company for good wool socks. They're also $30 a pair. Lifetime warranty though. These are from Costco. These are your everyman's wool socks. They're like 67% wool. Um, According to independent testing, they hold up just as well as the Darn Tough socks. They just don't have a lifetime warranty. But for the price that you would buy one pair of Darn Tough socks, you can get 4 pairs of these. So I've basically replaced my entire wardrobe, even for when I'm not doing cold weather stuff, just with wool socks because they're nice, they're comfortable, they keep my feet warm. So the ECWCS layering system really doesn't cover boots. It more or less just deals with the individual layer of your system, but a good pair of boots are very important for operating in the winter. So at the very least, you want a pair of waterproof boots. You're going to want a pair of waterproof and insulated boots, but if they're not insulated, they're just waterproof, you can make those work. Not really recommended, but if you do have a pair of waterproof boots that are lacking insulation, you can take a pair of Sherpa lined wool socks, because like what that Sherpa lining is going to do, that's going to trap heat, that's going to trap air, going to help keep your feet warm. Actually, a hell of a lot warmer than just standard wool socks. Those can kind of act as like an ad hoc insulation. Your best insulation though is going to be it's going to be 3M insulate. So these boots have 200 grams of 3M insulate. Helps keep my feet warm. Most people say that's about rated down to about 32 degrees. I've been more than comfortable with down to 0 with them. So it really just kind of depends on how hot your feet are, how much you sweat, and like what your level of comfortable with is being cold. Main thing is, even in those colder environments and what they're not really meant for, it's going to stop my feet from freezing. It's going to stop me from getting frostbite. So these are also waterproof. I can stand in this puddle, feel nothing, have no water leaking in. My feet are completely dry, completely warm. Because again, if you get wet in the winter, it's basically game over. And the last thing you want getting wet is any of your extremities, especially something like your feet, because that's just going to make you have a really bad time. You're going to get blisters. You're probably going to get frostbite because that's one of your harder areas of your body to keep warm. So a good pair of insulated waterproof boots for the winter. But if you can't find insulated, definitely get waterproof. You don't need anything like anything super high end. Like you don't need to spend $300 on a pair of boots, but you do need to make sure that they're waterproof and that they're insulated. So beyond the boots, I want to talk about your extremity coverings. These aren't really covered in the ECWCS system. Like the ECWCS system more just kind of covers your layering, but these are still very important to go over. So your body will sacrifice your extremities to keep your core alive. That's just simple biology. Your body's going to let your fingers and your toes go because they just are not vital to um, allowing you to live. So you want to keep your extremities warm. You want to keep your feet warm. We've already went over the boots. So as far as gloves go, I have a pair of wool gloves. These are basically they're just military glove liners. These are meant to be used with a heavier mitten. Um, Now, with the way the temperature is right now, these are fine just to wear on their own. 90% of the time, this is what I am using, unless the temperatures are really significantly below zero. There's a lot of wind chill. And then I move to some ski gloves that still have the finger dexterity. I don't like big mittens. Like I don't like having just my thumb and the rest of my hand, and then they it allows me to do more with my hands. I can shoot. I can do whatever I need to do. So I do like these wool gloves. You know, then as far as my head goes, obviously I have a grid fleece face covering. So this is just a Rothko face covering. It helps keep my face warm, helps keep block wind, stop me from getting frostbite on my face. And then for my hat, I have a Two Sabres beanie. So this is a company from Ukraine, so they actually know their cold weather shit pretty well. So just a polyester fleece beanie does a pretty good job of keeping my head warm. If I do sweat, which you sweat a lot through your head, especially us bald guys, we don't have hair to kind of wick away the moisture. But when you sweat through your head, this does a pretty good job of even when it does get soaked, it just keeps you warm. I've had this completely soaked on rucks before where the wind's been blowing, and with as long as I used my hood with my jacket, I was just fine. And then another thing that let me see here. Where the fuck did my glasses go? So that's all the parts of the cold weather layering system that I use. Obviously, for different levels of movement, you're going to want to up layer or down layer, however is going to be the most effective for you. One final thing is you do want to have a good pair of sunglasses or a good pair of winter goggles. Reason being is during the winter, when the sun's reflecting off of the snow, you can get snow blindness very easily. Basically, just sunburns the insides of your eyeballs and can permanently fuck up your vision. So you only have one pair of eyeballs. Make sure you protect them. Yeah. So that is everything we need to operate in cold environments. I will have a cold weather sleep system video coming out in the future. Now you may be wondering, this is a gun channel. What are we doing? Just talking about gear and not showing up guns. Chris Vector. We'll have a review coming out soon.